Cardinal Birds are a Ukrainian rock band from Kyiv consisting of lead vocalist and bassist Dmytro Lavreniuk, guitarist Vladyslav Stebel and drummer Maksym Kolomiiets. And they're all on with us here. How are you all doing today?
Everything is fine with me and my family. Thanks, Toby.
Not too bad, thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm pretty good.
Great. So, of course, with everything that's happening in Ukraine right now, how are you all feeling?
Personally, I feel a huge amount of emotions every day. I would describe it with the name of the band AC/DC, namely is alternating current and direct current, which in my case describes my inner feelings. I mean that every day I feel a direct current, namely faith in the victory of Ukraine in this war, which is intertwined with alternating current. This is a feeling of anger, pain, and compassion for the dead Ukrainians.
Yeah.
I no longer remember when I felt completely relaxed and could sleep peacefully.
Yeah, so far so good. My family and friends are safe, and that's the most important thing. Many have returned to Kyiv, and the city is reviving. There are no more problems with provisions and medicines, but there is no time to relax yet because we need to do a lot for our victory.
Thank you for the question, Toby. Today is a little better. 48 days since the beginning of the Russian attack on Ukraine, Kyiv has become much calmer now after our fighters drove the Russian killers away from the suburbs of Kyiv. But unfortunately, the missile threat worries us even now.
Yeah. And what is a day in the life like during this crisis?
All days are about the same. I spend a lot of time on my smartphone reading the news. When you see the current situation, it's calmed me down. My life now reminds me of the movie Groundhog Day, which is my favorite movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Every day I fall asleep and wake up with the same thoughts and themes. When will the war end and people will stop dying? But Phil in the film was saved by one thing, and that is love. And I believe that love will save Ukraine too. The love we receive from our people and people from all over the world.
Yeah, I agree with Dee. All days are reduced to one. Just listen to whether there are sirens or explosions to have time to hide in the shelter. Even the night, we run to the corridor several times because of the sirens. But over time, no matter how sad it sounds, you get used to it and start doing ordinary things to distract yourself somehow.
Yeah.
The first 3 weeks were absolutely exactly the same. But now I'm trying to do something new every day, like reading books, learning English, writing new songs, and spending more time outside.
Yeah. And how is everyone around you? What's the morale like?
Now there are morally strong people around me. Everyone who is nearby believes in a wonderful future for Ukraine. Ukrainians have always been kind to each other, and now we are united even more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you had any other bands reach out to you with some support?
Oh, sure. Gardy Johnson from the band Big Sugar is helping us a lot right now.
Yeah.
He has Ukrainian roots and is very worried about Ukraine. He posts information about the war in our country on his social networks and even helps us with music. We are now recording a new song dedicated to Ukraine and the defendants of the country, and he is now making a mix of this song.
Yeah.
Also, the famous British-Ukrainian drummer Steve Sudelnik took part on our song. A lot of people from the music world are now helping us, and soon we will announce even more information about this.
Yeah. And of course you've got another song as well, Trust, which, although being out before the war, you've sort of used on t-shirts supporting Ukraine, haven't you? So what's the inspiration behind the song Trust?
The main source of inspiration for this song was life.
Yeah.
The war in Ukraine has already been going on for 8 years, and every day we see a lot of injustice in this world, like racism or bureaucracy. So when I wrote the lyrics for this song, I tried to touch on all these topics at the same time. We had a demo recording of this song, and we couldn't figure out what to do with it and put it on the shelf. But when we met Anthony, we immediately realized that the time had come for this song, and we started working on it.
Yeah. And how would you describe the overall sound of the band as well?
When we started playing in the band, I would say that we played pop punk. But then we grew up and our music grew. We started mixing different styles and adding different musical elements from the music we were inspired by. And now I think that I would call our style like punk and roll. You will hear it on our new album, the music in which is radically different from what we did before.
Yeah. And of course as well, despite being a Ukrainian band, the lyrics are in English. What made you decide to do that?
I remember that when we started playing in the band, the guys wanted us to sing in Ukrainian, but I immediately offered to sing in English. I grew up on English language rock music, and I had a certain perception in my head of exactly how rock music should sound. We are often asked this question in Ukraine, but I always answer that this is our choice and there is nothing special about it. We just like it. If we took at the band Scorpions, they are Germans who sing in English, and I have never heard them reproached for not singing in German.
Yeah.
Thanks to the fact that we think in English, we are now talking to Toby, and our music can be heard all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And who writes the songs as well? Is it a collaborative effort, or is it just one person?
Yeah, exactly. This is a collective work. Songs are born literally from a melody someone's head. Then he tells everyone about this melody, and we are developing it as a full-fledged song, each one in his own way, and it makes our songs unique. The work is not always in progress. We have a very large shelf of demos, but over time we will always return to them and inspire new life in these demos. Mostly because each of us listens to different music, something new always come out. That is why it is important for all of us to make part in songwriting.
Yeah. And Dmytro, again, you sing lead vocals and you play the bass, but is there any one of the two that you actually prefer doing?
I used to play only bass guitar, but when our vocalist left, we could not find a new one for a long time and decided that we would sing ourselves. I never thought that I would be a vocalist, but life has turned out that way. And if I choose now what I like more, I would probably choose to play and sing at the same time, like Sting. He's an incredible bass player and vocalist for me, and one of the great examples of talent.
Yeah. Can any of you play any other instruments that you don't play in the band?
I used to play the trombone in the school band. But I even wonder if I can play at least something now. This is a funny story. The place of the drummer was always occupied, and I was offered to study this instrument. I learned to play very quickly, and after that they didn't put me on the drums in the orchestra at all. I was sad about it. I always dreamed of playing in drums, but soon the place became free, and I was now the main drummer until the end of my studies at the music school.
Yeah. So how did each of you actually get interested in making music?
When we were 16 years old, Vlad and I went to a Deep Purple concert.
Yeah.
It was my first rock concert in my life, and it impressed me so much that I wanted to play rock and roll too. We started to play acoustic guitars, and then Vlad got an electric guitar for his birthday. I thought that if Vlad plays the guitar, then I will be the bassist, just like Nicky Six from Motley Crue. And this was my favorite band. I worked all summer, collected money, and bought my bass guitar. To tell the truth, I have no idea how to play it because I didn't go to music school. At first, it was hard for me to play bass, so I kept playing Ramones songs. They songs were simple and catchy, and that was what I needed. Then I started looking for bands, some of which I played for a while. The bands didn't exist for a long, and I didn't see in those guys such a desire to make music as I had. Thank God I later found our drummer Max on one of the sites and invited Vlad to play with us. And so our band was born. By the way, we have a song called Kill, Kill, Kill. I wrote this song when I was playing in my first band. But then when we got the Cardinal Birds together, I invited the guys to play it, and then we recorded it.
Yeah.
As a child, after watching a series about a rock band, I told my parents that I wanted to learn to play the drums. They took me to a music school without hesitation, and at the age of 11, I started my journey as a musician.
Yeah, in general, my music has always attracted a lot of attention. Also, until I was 14, I only cooked electronic music. But then, together with Dee, I discovered bands like Kiss and AC/DC. After watching their concert, I realized how cool rock music is and wanted to play stadiums and make cool guitar bands as well.
Yeah. So how did you actually form the band? I'm guessing from those answers that it was partly formed right from the very start.
Yeah, I'm from an early age with Dee, as we are brothers. So when we were overwhelmed by a wave of love for rock music, we always got together and watched concerts and played guitars together. But then Dee wanted to play in a band, and I still doubted because I thought I was not good enough to play guitar for the band. Dee has tried many bands and once found an ad on one of the forums from Maksym and his classmates that they want to put a band together. They pursued us, and we went to the first rehearsal, took a liter of beer with us, and realized that this was exactly what we were looking for, and immediately decided to form a band and play together.
Yes. And I think you've all mentioned a few of these already, but who are some of the musicians and bands that have inspired you?
The first rock band that I knew was Sum 41. I have an older sister, and she used to listen to rock music thanks to her. At the age of 12, I saw the first video of this group on DVD. Since then, Sum 41 has been my favorite band and inspiration. And Travis Barker, a drummer, also inspires me now. He's an excellent musician and producer.
Yeah, the same situation with Max. In general, I was greatly influenced by bands such as Blink-182, Sum 41, Green Day 75. It was from these bands that I started listening to punk music. Even when you are young, it's like a reflection of your thinking, drive and simplicity, all you need while you are young. But after I discovered more and more bands, nowadays many people inspire me. First of all, My Chemical Romance and Bring Me the Horizon. My Chemical Romance procrastinates with their moves like Queen. Bring Me the Horizon show how you can always be afloat looking for a new sound.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of 80s music.
Yeah.
And I think that this time gave us a huge amount of beautiful music. I was inspired by such bands as Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, Cinderella, Poison, Whitesnake, White Lion, and other bands of the time. And I also love country, Britpop, rap, and many styles of music.
Yeah. And how did you actually come up with the name Cardinal Birds?
The name was coined by Dee. We thought for a long time what our name should be, and one day Dee came and said that there is such a bird, a cardinal bird, and it is red and it's had a look like a Mojave. as a symbol of punk music. Also, in fact, it is named after the red cardinals. But it seems to us that this bird is a symbol of punk music, and the name itself is very melodic and constant. We thought for a long time whether it would be a cardinal bird or cardinal birds, but still settled on the latter option. Now we are cardinal birds.
And of course the band as well has created t-shirts that are being sold on Amazon, as I mentioned earlier, with all proceeds from the sales being donated to charities directly in Ukraine. How did that idea come about?
For the first few days of the war, I sat in a complete stupor. We didn't know what to do, and the only thing we could do was run to the bomb shelter and pray.
Yeah.
But time passed, and I pulled myself together, started volunteering in one of the shops, and all this time I was thinking, how can I help our country? One day I came up with the idea of creating patriotic t-shirts from our band, and I wrote to the management of our label. At the moment, music is our weapon. While we are fighting with the guitars in our hands, but if necessary, we will replace them with rifles. The label found the right way for us to print t-shirts through Amazon so that people in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom can buy t-shirts without any problems. Unfortunately, now we cannot print t-shirts in Ukraine and send them all over the world. So thank God we have the internet and new technologies.
Yes, absolutely. And what were the band's plans before the war broke out?
We had big plans. Yeah. On February 23rd, the day before the war, we completely finished recording our EP.
Wow.
It includes 5 songs. We also shot 2 video clips. We really wanted to show our work the whole world as soon as possible and go to perform in different countries. But as it turned out, the next day our plans were ruined and our life has now changed a lot.
Yeah. And are you hoping to release more songs soon, or does that really depend on the situation in the country?
Of course, we would be happy to release more songs, but now there is a war and all efforts are for our victory.
Yeah.
The city is almost paralyzed. Only now public transport and some shops are starting to work. The war made life difficult for everyone, and the music industry is no exception.
Yeah.
We do not know what will happen tomorrow, but we are confident with our victory. And when victory comes, we will rebuild our country and will do music.
Yeah.
So that the whole world knows about us and what is happening here. We still have many trials ahead of us. No work, cities destroyed, but we will rebuild everything and be a free and prosperous country.
Yeah, absolutely. And what interests and hobbies do each of you have outside of the band, in normal times?
My hobbies are running and yoga. I believe that keeping yourself in good physical shape is a way to overcome all this madness without a destroyed psyche. Although it will not be as the same as before. In general, I advise everyone to at least exercise. Sports help to destroy the negative minds and you will feel better.
Yeah.
I do graphic design and it brings me great pleasure.
Yeah.
I create posters, banners, and even manage to make a living from this business. I love art and history, and when I have free time, I try to read books on these topics.
Yeah.
Okay, and I love football, and before I went to music school, I tried myself in football and even trained in Dynamo Kyiv, the most popular football club in Ukraine. I always dreamed of being a goalkeeper. Every day I played football with friends in my yard, and I also had t-shirt of goalkeeper Cech. And from the age of 10, everyone called by his last name. You can say now this is my stage name.
Yeah. So what can we do to support the band during these difficult times?
You can subscribe to our Patreon, where we publish exclusive content, and by doing this, you will support us a lot.
Yeah. And where can we check out your music as well, of course?
Apple Music, Spotify, and in general, we are on all streaming platforms. In our song that was included in the EP, there is such a line. You can find us everywhere.
Great. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you all here, and hopefully peace will come according to plan.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you, Toby. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us, Toby, for an interview. It means a lot to us. And thanks to all listeners for their support and kindness. Together we win.